Hi there, mole face. See that? The kid's got no eyes. Weird. That's funny.
Idiot.
What did you say?
What? I said...
Give me those.
I didn't... no! Give them back, Glenn! Come on, please!
Come
Give
on,
them
little
back,
mole.
please.
I want to see a mole
Stop,
jump.
Glenn,
Come on.
come on.
Stop it, you fat idiot, or I'll crush you.
I'm not sure I heard what you just said.
What seems to be the problem?
He's just being there's no problem.
Then piss off. You two. Move.
Chill out.
Stupid brats.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and salam sejahtera. Today, me and my group members would like to present our topic, which is classroom behavior issue. Before we start, I would like to introduce our presenter, which is first presenter is me, Intel Yana binti Muhammad Rafino, and second presenter is Mahani Wahab. Third presenter is Safira Nazira. Let's start with introduction. As a teacher, one of the common things that you will across in your career is dealing with challenging students. In case the behavioral problems that you are required to handle frustrate you, it would do you a lot of good to take some comfort in knowing that other teachers around the globe face the same challenges. The need to handle behavior issues is one of the additional packages that are tied to the teaching profession. Behavioral issue is prevent the child from receiving education, developing social skill, and badly affect the environment he is in called problem behavior. Behavioral issue is continuous behavior that hinders social relations, communication and learning of a child and cause harm to them, their families, their peers, and others adults. Behavioral issue is prevent the child from using his current skill, and child with problem behavior may pose a danger for themselves and their environment. Next, we move to type of behavioral problem. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 types of behavioral problem, which is sensory processing disorder, aggressive students, inappropriate language, and lastly, inattentive students. Behavior problem at school interfere with lesson and disturb other students. So we move to first type of behavior problem, which is sensory processing disorder. Children with sensory processing disorder can be disruptive in the classroom because they are unable to keep pace with daily lessons. They might walk around or talk in appropriate times, and their special needs divert the teacher's attention from the set program. Children with this disorder find it difficult to organize and make sense of the sensory information that their brain receives from the world around them. Normal activities can seem confusing and overwhelming to them. They often have problem learning and prefer not to play with classmates during recess.
Caleb, cool it. Okay, everyone, I need you to get your papers out from yesterday. Those need to be on your desk. Caleb, if you do not have yours out, that will be a 0 for this assignment. Caleb, I am not going to play these games with you today. Pick up the paper, or go to the office. Pick it up. Caleb, I don't know what your problem is, but you will not be disruptive in my class. Do you understand what I'm saying?
What y'all looking at?
That's it. To the office. Out.
Next, we move to second type of behavioral problem, which is aggressive students. Aggressive behavior is a serious problem and is disruptive to a supportive and safe learning environment. Physical aggression can be violent even between young students, and both pupils might get hurt. Aggression between students in the classroom or playground disrupt all other activities and negatively affects teachers and other students. Apart from the initial disruption, the after effect of physical fighting remain with sensitive pupils interfere with their school day. Okay, next we move to third type of behavioral problem, which is inappropriate language. Although fairly commonplace in the classroom, inappropriate language does not belong in school and is offensive to many students and teachers. Students may use foul language to impress their classmates or to get the attention of their teachers. Some students use inappropriate language to express frustration or anger, while others use this type of language because it is normal in their home environment. In all cases, teachers should dissuade their students from swearing in either the classroom or on the playground.
Alright class, today we will,
Get the fuck on with it, bitch.
what did you just say?
I called you a bitch.
Principal's office now. And you should tell her about your language while you're at it.
Language?
Yes,
She already knows I speak English.
now.
Fine, you stupid bitch. Why don't you just suck your stupid drunk husband's dick?
Okay, lastly is inattentive student. Inattentive students tend to fall behind their classmates unless appropriate steps are taken. In certain cases, students may suffer from attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, which cause them to have difficulty controlling their behavior. These students experience difficulty in organized schoolwork and sustaining attention. They struggle often require extra attention from teachers, so normal school lesson takes longer to complete, and students without learning or other behavior problem become bored and frustrated. Okay, that's all from me. Next, we move to second presenter, which is Mahani. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Mahani binti Abdul Wahab. I am a second presenter. So today I will present about factor that leads to classroom behavior. First is family factor. Many research show that problem behaviors are majority caused by the features of the family. Even though the child is not directly objected to violence, when the person that the child takes as a role model raise his voice or yell to the child, problem behaviors may be caused. It is known that the children in family environment where arguments are common have problem behavior pattern. Other factors due to family include the child being over-disciplined or not disciplined at all. Children may show problem behavior when they are under a lot of pressure in family environment, and suddenly they feel the lack of this pressure in a new environment for the first time. If physical or psychological violence is in question in family environment, it is impossible for children to not have problem behaviors. Even though this violence is not towards the child, what he or she witnessed will affect him and cause him to have problem behaviors. Thus, parent attitude, features of the family, and behavior shown in this environment may cause the child to have problem behaviors. Okay, now we go to the second factor, which is mass media. Mass media like television and internet are extremely influenced on children to have problem behaviors. Even a regular advertisement can adversely affect the child or cause him or her to acquire a wrong behavior as a role model. A considerable part of cartoons airing on television has violent content. Also, cartoon characters can be a bad role model for children and cause them to develop problem behaviors. It is known that children spending a long time watching cartoon exhibit various problem behaviors. Devices that have internet connection or games on them like computers, tablets, phones may also cause problem behaviors in children. So I think children's interaction with this kind of device should be limited, and programs, games or application they use should be under parent supervision. Children should be kept away from violence game regardless of their level and should be guided toward mind developing games. Lastly, for factor that leads to classroom behavior is school related factors. Physical and cultural features of the school can also cause the child to acquire negative problem behaviors. For instance, that we can see is if the school is too crowded, classroom are at overcapacity, physical features are inadequate, and such. So children going to school may show problem behaviors because children will seek the comfort of their home there, want to go back to home and show reaction to get them out of this environment. When this situation gains continuity, the child will have acquired a problem behavior. Now we will see factor of school that related to teacher. If the teacher-student relation is advancing in the wrong direction, children may show negative behaviors. When teacher is indifferent to the child, speaking in inappropriate manner, practicing physical or verbal violence, so children may develop problem behaviors, especially when teacher is an element of fear for the students. Developing this kind of behaviors cannot be avoided. Okay, now we will go to the challenge of managing student behavior. First is cultural and racial differences among students. For example, that we can see is Indian student and Chinese student. Sometimes teacher and student doesn't have a better communication. One of them do not understand what they taught. Teacher difficult to give advice of the student behavior and hard to send message if they don't understand. If that student do a mistake, the teacher worry that the advice from the teacher will get misunderstanding by the student. The next challenge of managing student behaviors is lack of parental support. even when it is the role of teacher to managing student behavior with quality education. The process will only complete with the cooperation and understanding of parents. Parents should be the ideal working partners of teacher in order to managing student behaviors. If parents are stepping away from their responsibility, it can be tough for teacher to handle at least a few of the students. That is one reason why today teachers are taking initiative to set up a meeting with parents and communicating them through apps like WhatsApp, Telegram, and many more, so that they can advise their children. The next challenge is teacher working too many roles at the same time. More than a teacher, he or she should take up the role of the counselor, psychoeducator, or parents at times. They are expected to shoulder a different role through the day. Teacher need to focus on student behavior in order to make them excellent in learning. Most of the teachers feel that they are forced to adopt these roles themselves, even though they are not trained for this. They willingly take up these roles only because they care for their students more than themselves. That's all from me. Now we will go to the next presenter, which is Safira Nazila. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and hi. First of all, thank you to the previous presenter, which is Intan and Mahani. My name is Nur Safira. Last but not least, I will cover for the solutions to overcome students' classroom behavior. Misbehavior in the classroom disrupts students' attention and negatively impacts the learning environment. To ensure the best educational experience possible, teachers must master the art of classroom management. Although this is a challenge for certain teachers, with enough practice, you will find there are solutions to misbehavior in even the most difficult students. Before we move to the solutions to overcome students' classroom behavior, we take a look first. According to Kaufman 2005, Alhans and Kaufman 2006, the problematic behaviors do have several general features in common, which is, first, they tend to be extreme. Second, they persist for extended periods of time. Third, they tend to be socially unacceptable, which is, for example, unwanted sexual advances or vandalisms against school property. Fourth, they affect schoolwork, and last, they have no other obvious explanation. For example, perhaps problems or temporary disruptions in the family. We move to the next slide, which is the solutions to overcome students' behavior problems in classroom. The first point, monitor your students closely, which is students who feel they are in the presence of an alert educator are less likely to misbehave than those who assume they are not being watched. It is recommended that the teacher constantly circulates throughout the classroom to check on students' progress. This way will keep children focused on the task at hand and keeps them from falling victim to distraction that cause misbehavior. Second point, model appropriate behavior. As a teacher, be careful not to send students message about the behavior you expect from them. If you are impatient, quick to anger, and inconsiderate of your students' feelings, it is unlikely the class will demonstrate the positive behaviors you ask of them. So, as a teacher, You must set a positive example by showing high levels of patience, organizations, and enthusiasm. If you expect the children to use quiet inside voices, you must also speak at that volumes as well. Third point, have regular class meeting. If multiple members of a classroom are struggling with the same problems, or if a particular issues get out of hand, call a classroom meeting. Make it clear what is unacceptable about the student's behavior and why. You need to ask the class for suggestions on ways to improve the situation and to keep it from coming up again. This way will give the students a chance to participate in the problem-solving process and contribute their own ideas on how to stop misbehavior from happening. Fourth point, which is stay calm. This point is important as a teacher, which is when a student misbehaves, it might seem natural to react negatively or show your frustration. Instead of giving in to your agitation, take a deep breath and try to handle the situation as calmly as possible. If you attempt to put a stop to misbehavior in an angry state, your decision making will suffer, and you will only pass your negative feelings to other students who will easily sense your lack of control. We move to the next slide. The next solution to overcome students' behavior problems in classroom is use nonverbal cue. As a teacher, you can create nonverbal reminders to let your students know you need their attention. For example, flip light switches, ring a bell, or come up with hand signals that alert your students to quiet down instead of raising your voice to settle commotion. Discuss these cues with your class before you implement them so students know exactly what they mean and how they should respond to them. Next point, be organized. If there is no proper organization in the classroom, automatically the kids will feel bored and start to misbehave. It will be better if the lessons are properly planned, make supplies ready, and thus be organized in everything as possible. As a teacher, you need to always think about items that can be displayed and figure out a system that helps to keep track of those items. Third point, deal with problems right from the start. It is advisable to deal with problems before they become too large to handle. You can address each and every small issue happening in the classroom. A tiny mistake in discipline issue can be a nightmare in the future. And the last solution is keep your students engaged. The more students are engaged in activities, the less they cause problems. Make sure you give interactive classes and teach the students passionately. It is better to make students involved than just giving lectures. Hence, it would be advisable to make the students write while teaching. We had already reached the conclusion for this topic. Before that, I recap. In this video, we had already explained for the introductions of behavior problems. Second, types of behavior problems. Third, factors that lead to classroom behavior. Fourth, challenges in managing students' behavior problems in a classroom. And last but not least, the solutions to overcome students' behavior problems in the classroom. To conclude this topic, school disciplines is an important, as we know, school disciplines is a system of a certain code of conduct, behaviors, and punishment, for regulate students and making school well organized. Next, handlings in the moments concerned. As a teacher, deal with conflict in the classroom is never easy. But by getting parents involved, putting time aside to understand the cause of the problem, and by engage children in positive rewards, it may be possible to reduce some of the risk that behavior problems will get in the way of learning, which is for the students and also for the teachers. The point here is praise. Praising positive behavior, which is not just expected behavior, is also a way of managing negative outcomes. When teachers praise students more readily than scold them, the students learns that to get attention, he or she must act positively. And the last to conclude is prior to an occurrence, which is one of the best strategies for teaching in an environment like this, is to learn methods that help to prevent the occurrence of behavioral issue. While every student's needs are different, there are some simple steps teacher can take to help prevent problems as a group. We know as a teacher to handle with this situation, which is students' classroom behavior is hard, but we need to find a solution. One of them was we can follow classroom management theories, which is behaviorist, humanist, democratic, psychoanalytic, and cognitive. Before we end our presentation, we want to share one quote from Lelia's quote, which is, "There are no problem children, but there are children with problems who need guidance to overcome the challenges in their life." So that's all the explanation and presentation from our group for the topic classroom behavior issue. Thank you.